Hello everyone. I want to make a new video update on what I see happening in the crypto space. So will start with Bitcoin. We had a very constructive looking shakeout yesterday after the Fed decision on the interest rates. And what is of particular interest to me is you see this basically a very orderly consolidation and closing around the same levels for almost 3 weeks already. So as we've been discussing with you or in my previous updates, I was expecting price to find some resistance around this 123 area and basically to be consolidating within this midterm area of support 115, 113 zone. And we are seeing a very constructive shakeouts and recoveries. And as I see for now, as we are above yesterday's highs in more immediate fashion and above 113 area from a more prolonged time period, I see decent odds for price to be trying to make at least one more move high into 126, 130 resistance zone that I was very vocal about since July breakout. This is my main operative scenarios for now. Also of interest, the statistics from excuse me, please, from yesterday about. I want to show it to you. Just a second. Here it is. That institutions are buying quite aggressively and heavily. Institution volume on Coin and Binance exchanges were amounting to more than to 45 and up to 60% of all the transaction. And what we saw yesterday is also of interest, that all the Bitcoin treasuries were record buying on this dip after the Fed. So we do see a lot of institutional interest inside this zone that basically helps us rely on this structure as a reliable trend structure. What happens afterwards, in case we see this move, will be very important from the macro perspective. That I wrote an article, I think, let me see, it was on also in the middle of July on Bitcoin macro structure that I'm tracking. Here it is. So I do think this region might present quite substantial resistance if price reaches, and potentially may move price into more prolonged, ideally keeping price higher than June lows. But I cannot rule out a more the late stage of the cycle that might coincide with what we see in equities. Well, in any case, in the short term, I do expect at least one more leg up into this region. Ethereum is acting, I think it's the strongest altcoins, as well, risk-wise, also in terms of the reliability of the coin. I think we have a higher odds for price to be finishing this high consolidation zone and to be targeting 4,300 and even 5,100 area in coming weeks. We do have substantial margin of error here, and as long as price is above this zone that has almost briefly touched during its July pullback, a very short-term pullback that respects this short-term 8 exponential moving average, I do think we have a very high odds to see this even all-time high level in coming weeks. XRP faced more deep consolidation. We were talking about it in the previous updates. This is my drawing from back then. We do have a substantial also margin for this uptrend structure to remain stable. I think we are trying to establish a higher low here, maybe even one more shakeout. I'm not expecting this kind of shakeout to be happening because of the Bitcoin and Ethereum structures that we're tracking. So basically, this might be it for the correction. Well, we might try to reach higher in the short term, and then maybe trying to pull back some. But ideally, I would prefer price to be building a higher low, and with one more push to 330 and even 430 and even 460, maybe extending up to the 5 region zone if we see some kind of FRE rally in coming days. Solana is also acting quite constructively. It was trying to catch up by the end of July, reached the ideal midterm resistance area that I was talking about in my previous videos, pulling back quite orderly, maybe slightly deeper than I would have loved to, but still respects a very important area of the trend structure support that I was also tracking. As long as we're above it, I do think we have a higher odds for price to be continuing its uptrend into 220 and 230 region. Ideally, I would love to see price to try to reclaim its November highs and maybe even all-time high area in January. So we see how it goes from here, but I do think this uptrend structure is still intact and looking for high targets going forward. Hype, it's quite a lagger in terms of the liquid names recently, but it held area that I highlighted as a very important macro support over here. And as long as we're above it, 41 and 39, and even I can make a case for price to have bottomed yesterday, given the internal structure that I see over here. So any kind of higher low on the daily and on the hour time frame over here, if we see some kind of pullback below the middle of this range, trying to recover, that's quite compelling risk reward wise buying opportunity for a potential move into this 55 and even some kind of higher extensions going forward, maybe ideally reaching 60 within this leg up. That might potentially be all in terms of that bullish structure from April lows. So like a topping region for this uptrend cycle. Okay, let's continue going over those coins that I were highlighting both in my mind sections and in ideas section since July. And we'll start from those that are acting very, showing some leadership action today is meme coin bread. I do love the structure that I see over here since April bottom, the impulsive structure. I also do like how this 3-wave corrective structure unfolded since May tops. And we have some kind of a bit shaky uptrend, but still quite constructive in terms of holding briefly, going beyond, but recovering quickly the critical area of support for this short-term uptrend. And as long as we are above it, I do think price is heading towards this 77 area, maybe 74, 77, or potentially even trying to reclaim this 95 May highs, and then moving into more prolonged consolidation that we were discussing in the previous videos. But overall, very constructive. Ondo also acts. I think I might have my charting on a different, maybe on futures, not on spot, but also very constructive. And if I try to do some ad hoc analysis, we crossed, but quickly recovered from this area. I think this structure is also quite compelling in terms of potentially bottoming and moving into above this region in a while. SUI, well, it was a leader since this short-term July pullback. I can make a case that this uptrend structure is already filled, and basically price just finished yesterday its first wave of more prolonged consolidation, and we will be seeing some kind of choppy action into coming weeks for price to be trying to form a new more reliable base structure before more sustainable uptrend. But I still cannot rule out that we might see an extension of this uptrend towards before it is finished in terms of this impulsive structure into this 515 area. But overall, this is very constructive. This is also perfectly within the technical parameters that we want to see in terms of the correction. We do see a very orderly looking next impulsive structure into within this larger scale. And as long as we are basically forming this basing pattern and potentially breaking out above, if price is able to go above this 515, the door opens for a move to 7 and up to 10 in quite quick fashion. But overall, it's very constructive. Let's have a look on render. The price also crossed this ideal midterm support region, basically shook out potential stops that were placed here, and now it's trying to recover. I think we have a compelling case for price to have finished its midterm correction and is already moving into the new uptrend to May highs, where it might pause for some time to establish a more reliable base, as we discussed with Insui. But as I was writing before, I think we have a quite substantial case for macro bottom to be in, and price basically is already into the new macro uptrend, targeting 126. Crazy as it sounds right now when price is at force, but it's a very long-term scale that might evolve within many years and with ups and downs along the way. But the macro structure is definitely there. So let's see what we have with super. As I was also writing, I think since the July breakout zone, when prices was just over here, I was writing that we are in a very good looking trend structure, potentially breaking out, and we still act very orderly in terms of how the trend structure evolves. I do think we have odds for, in case price holds this higher low pattern. We do have evidence that price might be in the ending diagonal for this move towards ideal resistance at 120, 146 zone in coming weeks. Tone is also acting very constructively. It's quite a lagger always in terms of the cycles, but I do have an evidence for macro pattern also to have established a bottom, and we might be in it doesn't move very linear, but we might be in some kind of initial moves into a bit before we see some kind of more reliable uptrend upside into all-time highs. But as long as we are above even this low, I do think we have odds for price to be targeting 460 in coming weeks. Link, I was also very active in following the structure since actually 2023. I think I've posted ideas about that coin. I think we have a very good also uptrend leading actions since July run. Price looks here, it looked extended, but I do think we are not finished with, and we do have odds for more upside into this 21-22 area in coming weeks before maybe some kind of prolonged consolidation area. Next is the Fetch AI coin that I really love in terms of this macro potential that I also was writing before in July. I think we have a very compelling evidence for price to be to have established the bottom in this April lows. Ideally, these June lows also will hold, but there is a slight potential for price to trying to shake out and to make a double bottom with these June lows. But ideally I want them to hold, and price basically is I want it to be as soon as possible to try to reclaim the moving averages, because this impulsive structure is perfect. This correction is also very orderly. This uptrend is quite choppy. It keeps this potential of double bottoming still in the cards, but I do like the macro structure and how chart evolves from there. So I do have quite compelling investing thesis for this one, and we'll see how price develops. I want the price to hold yesterday lows and basically to be trying to resume its uptrend. I want also to share about Trump coin that I was writing. It's also quite choppy. It failed the impulsive potential it was trying to make since July breakout, potentially moving into diagonal fashion. And if price had bottomed over here, we shall see some kind of basing higher low attempts from here. And while there is still a potential to kind of make a triple bottom over here, I would love to price to have established it yesterday and start a move from here into that kind of diagonal type of uptrend structure. I do think we have evidence to expect price to be targeting 13 and 14 area in coming weeks. LTC is also very, very interesting and leading action. Very good linearity over here. I think we might have ended correction yesterday or about to do so within this area, and we do have an evidence from the structure to expect at least one more attempt to go to this 130, 145 resistance zones before maybe some kind of a more prolonged basing pattern to evolve before a multi-month breakout from here. So I think I covered everything that I wanted. Maybe didn't speak about Uni. That is also, I was writing about it since this July breakout back in July 8th, when price was just sitting over here with very tight action, compressing volatility over here. I think we might expect a continuation from here. Ideally, let me put it down for you. So ideally into that resistance zone that might put some pressure on price, but from the structure perspective, as the uptrend move is not finished as long as price have not reached this 1821. So what I see right now that we have potentially finished the correction, and price is about to launch its new uptrend into this 14 zone, then moving into consolidation and going higher afterwards. So quite interesting structure. Well, this would be ideal, but we might still find some kind of more alternatively. I do think we cannot fully rule out that kind of move to the 13 and then building a more reliable base. So basically moving into the diagonal fashion from here. So something to watch, something to definitely to consider because the trend structures, they morph depending on a lot of catalyses that are happening around the world, and we do have a lot of them. But as at least one more push into this 13 plus area is, to me, looks quite plausible over here. Thank you very much for your attention. If you wish me to go over any coins that you might be personally interested that I have not been covering in my videos, please feel free in writing me in the comment section. I will either include them in my new reports or even make a very short video covering the structure within them. So thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate your following me and your interest in my work. So once again, thank you very much, and I wish you a good end of the week. And let's hope for this rally to continue at least for quite some time into the summer. And see you in new videos. Bye.